Yo, it's X, and it's What's Out Media. Crizzo, where are you, my friend?
Right here.
Coriani.
And Corey, where you at, buddy?
Right here, man. Glad to be here.
And today we have a wonderful guest. We have Lillo Brancato Jr. Welcome to the podcast. He's known for, C on, A Bronx Tale. He's been in Sopranos. He's been in Enemy of the State. He's been in Renaissance Man. He's been in a lot of different movies. But even more incredible than his movie is his comeback story, my friend. Welcome to the podcast, Lillo.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's really nice to be here with you guys. Yeah, man, things, finally looking up for me. But, it wasn't easy, but, just a product of good old hard work,
Without a doubt. Your most recent movie that, is available for people to watch is Made in Mexico. We'll probably talk about that later on.
Sure.
But I want to ask you with the first question. I'm going to throw you with the first question. What was life prior to summer of 1992?
Oh, I was just middle class, grew up in an Italian American family in Yonkers, New York, which is like 25 minutes north of New York City. It's a neighboring city of the Bronx. It's right there. I actually did well in school. I was an honor roll student. My behavior was another thing. I did get thrown out of a few schools, but I always did maintain a very good grade average. And then it was, summer of 1992. I just finished 10th grade. And by that point, from the high school, from 9th grade, I went to 3 different high schools. Because I got thrown out of one, then thrown out of another for using a fake address. My parents wanted to send me to school a little further upstate, better school.
Right.
So we used a fake address for my cousin. I know it's like illegal, but who cares? It was 100 years ago.
Right.
So yeah, then I went to Roosevelt High School, and then in the summer of 1992 was when I was discovered on Jones Beach. There was a film that they were doing. We heard about it. It was called The Bronx Tale, and De Niro was going to make his directorial debut. And it was like a big thing, actually. They had not billboards, like flyers everywhere, and it was on the radio, and they were going to high schools, and it was like a pretty big thing, and it was talked about a lot. And, secretly to myself, I always thought, I think maybe I'd be good for that role, just because people always told me I looked like De Niro, and I think I did more when I was younger. And I thought maybe I would be good for something like that, but I would never let anyone hear me say that just because it's like such a long shot. You know what I mean? Think about what it is from where I was and to go to that, to make that leap, because it's basically something that happens like basically overnight. It really does. Literally overnight. He tells you got the part overnight. It's a different life for you, bro. You know what I mean? It's like a whole different world. So yeah, they found me on the beach. They asked me to come in and read. I did. I made it to the next level where I was going to New York City. It was very intimidating. There was a lot of people reading, but as the days went on, it got like less and less, and to the point it was just me. So finally, I thought, it was common sense. I thought I had this part because there's no one else. But then De Niro told me to dress like I was going to church the next day that was coming in, and then they were going to have a screen test and put me on like actual film. And, to see like on film, you may look different, maybe, like someone's, who knows, like a pronounced jawline someone has, maybe too much. Film makes you look different.
Right.
So we did it. When I went there the next day, all dressed up, there was everyone there, like all the finalists that made it to the end. Because now everyone's going to be put on film to see, like, well, we're going to have these 3 guys reading for this character, and then this and this and this. So at that point, like I said, I thought I had this part. You know what I mean? So now I'm sitting there with my father, and this kid comes up to me, who happened to be the kid who shot Sonny at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. He was the kid who was going to get my part. And he was older, though. He was 21. I was 16. It would have been like a different movie. But he introduced himself, and he was like, "Hey, man, my name is Phil, and I'm reading for the part of Kaloja." I was like, "Oh, wow." So now that changed everything. My confidence was drained. A lot of it was drained right there. Because now it's like, now I know I really have to compete, because up to that, like, I didn't think there was anyone else there. And yeah, I look like De Niro, but that doesn't mean anything. Does that give me a little bit of an edge? Yes. But is it everything? No, because you could look like De Niro and be like as stiff as a board, and you're not going to get the part. And you're going to get a guy that looks more like Al Pacino reading for De Niro's son, and he's going to get the part just because he's more ability. So I'm thinking this kid made it all the way to this point that he's got to be definitely good. So I knew I had my work cut out for me, and we were doing like they did all the other parts first, and then it was him versus I, me and him. And they did the scene when Sonny smacks him, smacks me around, thinking that I put a bomb in his car. So he did the scene first, and my father and I were outside and we're listening to this scene. Cameras are rolling, there's lights everywhere, and this is De Niro's building, the Tribeca building. Tribeca is a part of New York City. You heard of it, right? Do you know what it means?
Actually, I don't know what it means, but yeah, I'm aware of it, like the Tribeca Film Festival.
Well,
yeah.
Right, but what it means is it's a section of Manhattan. It's the triangle below Canal Street. When you go down, there's Canal, and then there's that triangle, that little piece right there. That's Tribeca, but that's his building.
Okay.
So that's the second floor is where they had the screening room. So the kid goes in to do that scene, and we hear them roughing him up. It's very obvious. They're smacking him. You could hear it. I mean, my father looked at me like, what did you get yourself involved in? So then when he came out, he was all disheveled. He was like handprints on his face. His shirt was ripped. And so now I'm like, I got to go in like, wow, this guy's going to like beat the shit out of me. So I went in, I did it, and they never hit me once, which I came to find out later on, because I asked De Niro, I said, hey, Bob, why didn't you guys hit me that night when, you guys have to? He said, we didn't have to. You brought the emotion necessary and needed to sell it, to be what it was. So the ultimate compliment coming from De Niro. And I don't want to take anything away from my friend Phil, the kid who played, because he shot Sonny at the end. They did give him that role. Right. I mean, I'm sure they would have gave him a role of one of the friends, but it probably just wouldn't have worked. Because he was 21.
Because he was older,
we were like 15, 16, 17. And at that age, like when you're like 45 and 41, it's not that big of a difference. But 15 and 21 is a very big difference at that time. You know what I mean? So,
wow. So when they told you got the part, how did you feel? Like, were you surprised, or did you kind of already expect it? Like,
no,
okay.
I didn't expect it. At that point, it could have went either way. That was a Thursday when we did the screen test. They usually called me every day. I waited till Sunday. They finally got in touch with me and said, come in on a Monday. So when I went upstairs, De Niro just, he told me we loved everything we did. But then he could have said we went with Phil because we think he's older and he's more suited for this responsibility.
Right.
But told me you got the part. And I was very relieved because, like I said, I was there. I knew I had it. But then he said, I'm reading for your role. So then it was like a big balloon. Now it's like I got to fight now I'm fighting for my life. And my performance in the audition in the screen test would have probably been better had I not known, or maybe the other way. I don't know.
True.
But sometimes you get too cocky and too complacent, and it's just like, it's nobody. I'm up against nobody, and maybe you slack. Maybe you think you're doing it, but you're not. And then maybe subconsciously, because you got to compete against this kid that you may, without even realizing, go into something a little more than usual just because of that. So whatever it is, it worked. And, I don't think I beat him because I'm a better actor. I think I beat him because I looked like De Niro and I was more the right age. That's it. The more the right age to make the movie better. Because at 21, he's a little too old already. You know what I mean? At 16, 15, 16 years old, that's more like when you could take a kid, put him under your wing.
Right.
At 21, he's already been under the wing. He's going to put somebody under the wing in a few years,
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I look at it. And so it was, and we got the part. We started shooting in late summer, fall of 1992. We never knew. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't think they ever thought it was going to be as big as it got. It was more like an experiment. De Niro was making his directorial debut. He didn't want any known he didn't want professional actors. He wanted, raw talent to make it authentic. And, you could, I think De Niro did a genius job all the way around, from the casting to the production, all the detail. Everything. Everything was, perfection. No one else could have made that movie as good as he did. And, he was there. He did it. He was at the right age, at the right time to play that role, Lorenzo. It all happened perfectly. And, like I said, you got all these, inexperienced, untrained actors for the most part in this film. That's a big roll of the dice. And there's millions of dollars behind us. Yeah. You know what I mean? That could have went the total opposite. Could have been a disaster. And they could have lost all that money. It could have never, never even came out because they probably, but it went as well as it could have went. And it's all because of the fans. And I tell them that, all the time when people, I love the Bronx Tale. It's like, no, it's because of you. It's because of you, right. what it is today. It's people like yourself.
My grandma, she's a super fan. And she has a question. She says, what was it like working with Chazzy P, Chaz Palminteri, and Robert De Niro? How was it working with them? And I could imagine that those two, they were acting as they must have been like acting coaches to the rest of the cast, because they had experience, right? They've had Robert De Niro had a lot of experience.
Oh, forget it. Chaz, not so much though.
Right. I know he had some, but not
that
too
was
much.
Really, now he does, but that was early on. I think he did that movie. Remember Oscar with Sylvester Stallone?
Yep.
It was like a silly movie.
Yeah.
It's Stallone with Tom. He was Stallone's bodyguard. He was like his dumb lackey, and Stallone would tell him, "Don't call me boss." Okay, boss. He'd tell him, "Don't call me boss," and then he'd say, "Okay, boss." It's like you got. It was called Oscar. That's all I had seen him in prior to that, and. But yeah, he's great. The Bronx Tale, that was his story, his whole thing. And he could not have been better, or no one in this world could have been better than Sonny than he was. Perfect. Perfect. Tall, slim guy, the way they had him. He was unique. He's not when you watch movies, gangsters, that's not what you picture.
Right.
But even though you don't picture it, when you see it, it's still right. Not what you envisioned. But when you see it, that works too.
It does fit. You're like, that's the exact type of feeling I have when watching it. And I'm like, does he fit that type? No, I'm thinking more, maybe Frank Vincent or something like that.
But yo, man, but that's you know what it is? It's like when you cast those types that are really, really look it, it's almost like a caricature, like an exaggerated portrait.
Yeah.
It's like caricature-ish. Like Tony Soprano's not caricature-ish. He was so real, fat, balding. Bro, that guy was perfect. That's what those guys look like. They get chubby, man. They eat out every night and stuff like that. They don't give a lot of them give a shit about their diet. Yeah. You're talking about Mount Vernon. After this, I'm going to go to Mount Vernon myself. I'm going to get pizza over there. Johnny's Pizza?
Oh my God. Dude, I was about to bring that up, man.
Johnny's?
Yeah.
I'm going there tonight. I'm going there tonight.
I got a picture of that. I looked at that right before I started the podcast because I'm like, I haven't been there in I'll kid you not.
You guys know Johnny's?
I don't know if they do.
All right, let me tell you something. Johnny's is third in the country. That good. Okay?
Wow.
No. If you go, that guy, David Portnoy? The Barstool Sports?
Barstool guy. Yep.
Okay. Google, when he gives an 8.2, right? It's wow, right? Or even a 7.9, okay?
Yeah.
I know he knows pizza because he does one on Johnny's. And by the way, he gave them a 9.1.
Yeah.
He gave Sally's is the top in the country. He gave them a 9.3, and they're in New Haven, Connecticut. Johnny's is 9.1, okay? And I know he knows pizza because it's a thin, small, it's a thin crust pie. You can't get slices. Dude, it's unreal. The crust has got a buttery taste. It's just perfection, the way it just, when you fold it, but it's still got the crunch and it's thin. And I know he knows pizza If he would have said something bad about that pizza, I would have never watched them again. You know, this guy knows nothing. This place has friggin' made multi-millions of dollars. People are multi-millionaires who put in this place. And this guy's telling me, yeah, okay. But he knew right off the bat, wow, Frankie, wow, look at this pie. He goes, look at it, crispy. Frankie, look at it, crispy. He goes, if anybody knows me, know my nickname, he's gonna call me Crispy. Crispy, I like crisp. And he's talking about it. And then he goes, wow.
Oh, man. Yeah.
He just went, wow. Like, and then I know this guy knows pizza. He gave them a 9-1. I'm going there, bro. You know what it is, though?
What is it?
It's got that short shelf life. It's like, yeah, it's always great, but yo, you gotta eat it when it's
Right
scorching hot.
Yeah, when it's hot.
The cheese is not sprinkled on. It's layers. It's like sheets of mozzarella. It's kind of different. It's just heaven, bro. It's pizza heaven. It's the best.
You're making me hungry, man. You're making me hungry. I ain't eat dinner yet, man. You're making me hungry.
Oh, you're in Florida, and these guys are in Cleveland. I'm sure Cleveland got some pretty decent pizzerias, right?
Oh, we got some decent pizzerias, and we definitely
not like that, but
no, in no way is it comparable to anything in New York and a tri-state area at all.
My cat, look, see my cat? Say hello.
Let's see. Yo.
Hello. All right, stop. Come on. Hold on. All right.
So what was oh, my bad.
Go ahead. Talk to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So what was the whole process of production? Also, like, dude, you did a voiceover at that age, and you did it like really well. Like, you ever think about being a voice actor? I know you were like you did a voiceover for Chris Brown recently or whatever. So like,
I'll tell you what, bro. I certainly would not be opposed to it. I mean, listen, if the work is there, I'll definitely would love to do something like that. I would love to. You know, it's like probably fun. It's easy.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, no, so, without a doubt. So now how was the process of production? Like, how long were you recording scenes? Like, how long did it take to film the whole thing, type deal?
Well, they started August 31st, 1992. We went all the way through the fall, September, October, November, December. We took off January, and then February, we went back in for like maybe another week or so just to pick up shots that we needed. So, September, October, November, December. So 4.5 months maybe.
Months. Okay.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. Believe me, that's a lot. Because, do you know how much money you have to be able to have a crew on the set every day, food, cameras, film, everything? To have that going for 4 months, it's a lot of money, bro. Believe me. So,
I bet. So when you were working with Chaz and De Niro, sorry, what tips did they give you as far as acting, or like life tips, like in general, while you was working with them? And like also too, what are some things that you picked up just by observing them and how they were acting, and how they were performing?
Well, it was more De Niro. I mean, he did warn me about what lies ahead. Like when this movie comes out, your life's going to change, and to be very careful of who's going to have people coming at you from all angles. But De Niro always told me that less is more. Like as an actor, less is more. When he says, if you don't feel like doing anything, don't do anything at all. That's better than doing too much. So you always stress less is more. Like really, and that is key. I mean, it's sometimes when you're under the, like you're in front of the camera and stuff like that, and maybe it's a little harder than you think, but when you get used to it, it's a lot easier to be less. You know what I mean? Because it's hard. Sometimes you're big just because of your nerves. You know what I mean? You got all these strangers in there with lights on you and cameras, and sometimes it could be like, of course you prepare it when you're home and you do it in your mirror 1,000 times. There's no one there. So once you can get to, you know what I mean? You can really hone in on the craft and really remember what he said. Less is more. Because it'll
look more comfortable as well. It probably makes you more comfortable if you're not doing too much and not being like, I need to.
You don't want to oversell it, right?
Yeah, because then it just doesn't look real.
Exactly.
And he would say, think of what it is. Think of what it is in real life. that someone would be in this situation or how they would be. Look at this dialogue and think of what it is. If this applied to real life, how would this guy say this? Even though it's like not like, but you when you do think of what it is, it's like you really do think. Sometimes we don't think of the things that we should be thinking of that are obvious, but sometimes it's just that little thing that we're told to do when it's not even, and then we just like do it, and then it's like makes such a big difference in our lives. We take these little things for granted, and they make a big difference, you know?
Yeah, and when you're actively thinking about what you're saying in any given scene, you can think too much about it, and then, as you said before, you're exaggerating it. I feel like the big important thing, and I feel like De Niro really understands this, is like the small things in each little conversation. But also, being his directorial debut, and in every production, you're going to have difficulties and challenges. What was like some of the big ones that you had through your production?
I mean, there was day-to-day stuff just
Right.
because, you know, these are not professional actors. So you have a lot of guys that are from the street and they're playing extra roles, and there was a lot going on. There was a lot of bickering between people. Sometimes there would be fights and little things like that would happen on set, you know? But overall, like anything really big, no, I don't remember any, but like stuff like that did happen, you know?
Oh, wow, that's good that you didn't have anything that was that you can remember ever.
Yeah,
it was
no,
just
I remember,
all
you know, like, I mean, I'll tell you what, when the Screen Actors Guild, when they come on the set, everybody makes sure that they're in line, because, you know, the union, you get somebody who represents the union, they find something wrong on that set, they could shut you down. And literally, too, I don't care if it's Steven Spielberg, they'll shut you down. So if you have those plastic that's supposed to be over the wires, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, like anything, they could shut you down in 2 seconds, you know? So, but I don't remember anything specifically on that, you know? So, come on.
So I was watching an interview that you had with Michael Franzese, and you were actually, it was a little reunion from Bronx Tale, and you were saying, you know, you still were treated like kids on set. So like, how was that? How was that?
Well, that was great. I mean, we would get gifts from like De Niro, Jane Rosenthal, Chaz. We were treated like, well, we were kids, you know? We was, you know, I think she was 17 and I was 16. So it was nice. It was definitely a great perk. Definitely was.
How was the movie perceived when it first came out? Like, how was you know, like the neighborhood reaction to it, your school? Like, how did people?
Everybody loved it. Everybody was blown away. Everybody was blown away. Everybody loved it. The reviews were great. Cisco and Ebert, 2 thumbs up. I think one of them even said I was picture perfect in the review. Brancato,
Wow.
picture perfect. Now, I don't know if they meant to the performance, but picture-wise, the way I looked, picture perfect, because I looked just like De Niro. Like, yeah, this kid looks just like his son. So that's more, I think, what they meant, but that's what they said in the review. Brancato is picture perfect.
Perfect.
Oh,
So how did?
that's in a Playboy magazine when they reviewed the film in '93. Jerry Seinfeld's on the cover.
No.
Get that issue, and you will see picture perfect, my friend.
That is a bizarre copy of Playboy there. So my uncle has a question for you. It's, did having an on-screen interracial relationship, did that affect you personally, like in life? Like, did people have anything about that? No?
No, absolutely not. I mean, to be honest with you, I like black girls.
Yeah.
I do very much. I do. I did back then, and so
I think the question was more
like,
geared toward, did anybody say anything about that at the time? Or they're like, oh, okay, we see you, you know, we see, like, was it anything like that?
what do you mean, like in a good way?
Yeah, in a good way.
Oh, are you kidding me? Everyone.
Okay.
Oh, like, bro, your life changes overnight. Like, gosh.
Yeah, that was
16,
gonna be.
I was 17 years old, bro. I was going out. I was, you know, going out with women in like their early 30s, bro. I was like 18 years old.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question, right? Like after the movie came out and you had this quick fame, how did people treat you, to your friends, women, or even like your family, right? Like how did they perceive you like compared to before you even had the movie?
It's like after all that happened, with a lot of people, it's like you could do no wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Literally, you can do no wrong. Lillo, you want this? Lillo, you need this? Hey, Lillo, oh, that was great. That was, you know what I mean? Everything changes. It's like in the Bronx Tale when the guy who sold the fruits knew that the little kid, remember before he treated him like, get out of here, get the hell away from my stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he found out he knew Sonny,
Yeah,
that's the way it was.
that respect there.
Hey, Colangelo, I mean, see, I mean, see. That was, but that's, hey, Lillo, I mean, Colangelo.
So you were like a local celebrity as well as a big celebrity, like on a small level and on a big level. That's really cool.
Absolutely.
But
listen, local celebrity to many, but not to everyone. And some people like, there's jealousy and stuff too now. Kids your age are like, they get jealous of that. And, that's just an emotion that a lot of people feel. And they get, and they become that way. And, that also brought a lot, some negativity in my life. Because like I would go out places and now like people want to make a name for themselves or whatever. They're gonna start a fight with you. You're gonna get jumped. I've been jumped a million times, bro. I got into my share of fights, and not by no means saying I'm a tough guy, but a lot of that's because of that. A lot of people want to like test you. You get people looking for lawsuits. You get people that just want to bust your head open just to say, oh, that kid from the Bronx still? Yeah, I busted his fucking head open. But that's the way it is, man. You got a whole different walks of life. And then you got people that'll love and adore you, and they'll give you everything and anything. You want my daughter? Here she is. You want this?
Yeah, not at all. So I was gonna ask. So right after Bronx Tale, is this when you like started like drugs started coming into the play of your life? Like,
yeah, Bronx Tale. Like, yeah, that's when I started smoking pot. I smoked with that kid Phil Garbarino who shot Sonny.
Yeah,
he was the first time I smoked. And once again, not blaming him or it was my own decision. He had it in the car. He drove me home one night from the set. And we smoked. We smoked in the Bronx in Van Cortlandt Park, and he was a lifeguard there back in the day.
Oh, really?
So I remember we're in there, we're smoking, and I thought I got high, but I really didn't, because then on the set when we did the scene, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" I smoked again that day, and then I knew I was high, and yeah, absolutely, it was night and day, and I doing that scene, I had no saliva. I was like. It was a disaster, and I'm not proud of that, but it just happened to be when it all started. But before that, was like really like already drinking like little, like beer and stuff, like 40 ounce with my friends, Right. And then when that started, then we're smoking 40s. I mean, drinking 40s and smoking blunts. It was during the whole Wu-Tang era, yeah. And that was like with the baggy jeans, with the plaid, shirts, all that was there in that era. And that's when Bronx Tale, that's when these movies were coming out. And then going out in the city, in New York City, the Limelight, the Palladium, Club USA, the Tunnel, Expo. Those were all the clubs back then. Those were some of the best in New York City history. And I was there. I mean, the best is probably Studio 54. I didn't experience that. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if Studio 54 was on the level of some of these clubs as far as big as it was and the stuff that went on in there, because these places were nuts. And that guy who owned all those clubs, his name was Peter Gation. He was the executive producer on The Bronx Tale, because Chaz, who played Sonny, he was a bodyguard at the Limelight. And, he held out all the way to the end because people offered him money for his story, but they didn't want him to play Sonny. And he was like, nah, man, I'm playing Sonny. He got Peter Gation, once De Niro was attached, to put up, I think the budget was like 20 million. And that was back then, 92, 20 million's like 50, 60 million now. So it was a lot of, for them, they put some money behind it. And, that was, then I did Renaissance Man, and then I did Crimson Tide with Denzel. Renaissance Man was with DeVito, and everything was, everything was going really well, going really smooth. But then I just like started going out much, a lot more, realizing like I'm a kid, and this acting stuff will always be here. I got it really easy, so it's not going to go anywhere. But to be honest with you, it did.
Right.
You miss up these opportunities, they don't come back. You got to really, and that's some advice that I would give to actors coming up. You get these opportunities, you got to really strike the iron when it's hot.
Yeah, without a doubt. We'll talk about a little bit so what was it like working with like Danny DeVito, freaking, Denzel Washington? I could imagine like these are other actors that are, on another level as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was great, Denzel's from Mount Vernon, so we spoke about that. Took me for a ride in his Ferrari. Denzel's a great guy, man. I think he's probably one of the best around right now, if not the best. It's great,
Yeah, man. I love the Equalizers. Oh my goodness, I could watch that.
I could watch that guy. I mean, that guy you could watch him, stare at the wall, and it'll be good. He's that good. I've seen him in films, and I look at these films, and I'm like, if this guy wasn't in this movie wouldn't even be watchable. This guy could take anything.
Seriously, yeah. I totally agree. I
don't want to start saying names of movies, but I've seen him. I'm like, look at this movie. But then there's movies where he's awesome and the movie's awesome because he does a lot of awesome movies. He's that guy's a movie star and a great actor. You know what I'm saying? A movie star means you got like that movie star appeal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's got that, and he's also got the chops.
Yeah, he's one of those movie elevators.
Yeah. Denzel's, he's in a class of his own, that guy.
What's one of your favorite films that speaks directly to you?
In general?
In general, yeah. It could be something you worked on. It could be anything. Well,
I like Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel. I don't know if you ever saw that, where he plays that, the lieutenant in New York City. It's as raw as they get, bro. It was directed by Abel Ferrara. I worked with him on RXmas with Drea Di Matteo. He did King of New York. I mean, he's top. He's some really good films. Bad Lieutenant's my favorite. I think my favorite ever. It was just so raw. My friend Anthony one time invited me to his house. He was like, yo, I want you to come over. I want you to watch this movie. It's called Bad Lieutenant. This guy, Abel Ferrara, he did, we watched it in the afternoon. I was like, holy moly. I was blown away. If you see the stuff that goes on in this movie, you've never seen a movie like this. Trust me when I tell you.
It's on the list.
Have you seen it? Has anybody seen it?
I've seen parts of it.
Nah, it's so nuts.
I gotta watch it all the way.
He pulls over these two girls. He's a lieutenant, and he asks them basically, you want to go to jail or you want to go home? What are you gonna do for me? The cover of the movie says he's a gambler, he's a junkie, he's a thief, he's a killer, and he's a cop. New York City lieutenant, smoking crack. It's fucking nuts, bro. It's as raw as they get, bro.
It really is. I've seen part of it. That movie is pretty wild.
And then they made the other one with Nicolas Cage. I heard wasn't as good. I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, no.
But I remember reading Abel Ferrara. He was a little upset that the movie was remade. So he said, I think he said something like, I hope the director dies a bloody violent death or some crazy shit. So nuts. Right?
Seriously.
Yeah, he goes, I hope the director dies a violent death. All right. Well,
sheesh.
Well, now you can tell us how you really feel.
Right.
So what's up?
Yeah, going back, I got another question about Bronx Tales, probably the last one. But what scene is most impactful to you? Because people talk about how is it better to be feared or loved? They'll talk about that scene. People will talk about the door lock test. I love that scene. But what's most impactful to you?
I like when Sonny Chaz tells the kid, when the kid says, he goes, Bill, Mickey, he made Mickey Mantle cry. And Sonny says, what do you care about Mickey Mantle for? He don't care about you. Go see if your father can't pay the rent. Go ask Mickey Mantle, see what he tells you. Nobody cares. You can't. That was good. It's true though. Come on, bro. You think? I mean, listen. We idolize, and but when it comes down to it, a lot of these professional athletes or whatever it is, they come on, man. It's
they're not gonna really.
What are
they gonna do to your day to day? I totally understand that.
It's not that I'm not saying that they're selfish and they don't give a shit about you. No, it's not like that. It's more like because they're making all that money and you see all that glamour and glitz doesn't mean that they don't have their own problems to take care of. Everybody's got a story, bro. Everybody. A lot of times you get all these people with all that money. Those are the most empty ones. Okay, those are the most empty ones. So, but I like when he said that. That was cool.
And that
definitely.
You know why too? He said that also more like, what are you idolizing this fucking guy? I want you to idolize me. I'm a real motherfucker. Fuck this punk baseball player. That's basically what he's saying. What do you care about him for? He don't give a fuck about you. Go see your father can't pay the rent. Go ask him, Mickey Mantle, see what he does. He gives a fuck about you, basically. Come on, bro. You want to idolize a real man? You idolize me. That's what he was saying. You idolize me.
That's what I love about basically
he's basically saying, you think Mickey Mantle got the balls right now? Huh? Do what I do? I'll go right to that guy right now. Fucking shoot him right in his head. Go see your boy Mickey Mantle. Go ask him. See if he'll do that. I show him a gun, he'll piss his fucking pants. You know what I mean? That's basically, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I think it's a very important thing to care about people who are worth your time.
Absolutely.
Sounds obvious, but.
And that's what I loved about the movie, man. I just love that it had it had two different perspectives, and it had a lot of your characters where you do when you were younger, a lot of your characters, it was they were always curious, whether we talk about, the Bronx Tale, you got your father and then you got another type father figure. You're getting wisdom from both sides, and then he was conflicting. It's oh man, you're getting both. You're getting wisdom on both sides, and kind of which one am I gonna pick? Am I gonna pick this on this end or this end? It's not like you're essentially just picking one side. That's what I love about the movie, man.
Yeah, see, that's really what the movie was. It was like that struggle, that tug of war. It wasn't really a gangster movie. Goodfellas was a gangster movie. That's what it was about.
Yeah.
It was about gangsters that robbed the airport and that. But Bronx Tale was a father-son, tug of war with, and it just happened to be in an Italian neighborhood with gangsters. It could have been in anywhere, a Jewish neighbor or whatever. Because say the son's got the father, now he's got the local, say rabbi, who's, you know what I mean? Now, there's rumors that the guy's doing some shady shit and the father. Now the rabbi's, telling this kid, stay in school, do this, do that. And then the father's saying, he ain't your son, he's my son. You know what I mean? That could happen right there too. And they would have had the same thing. Which way does this kid go? But it happened there. And, I think it was definitely in a pretty cool place where it did happen, the Bronx, it's all real, it's a real story. And the guy who's Sonny, his name was Sonny Lo Specchio. It was real. It's just real stuff.
Yeah.
So, and there's, the biker gang. There's a gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a biker gang called the Chingaling Gang. The Chingalings. They're in Fordham right now. That's who that was.
No way.
That's all real stuff. Yeah. So.
When Sonny was killed, and at his funeral, it was really just De Niro. He's paying respect. Even though he had conflicts with Sonny in the movie, it was he was still there. He still paid his respect because he knew that his son looked up to him. And then at the last second, man, nobody else is there. Then freaking my boy Joe Pesci comes in, man. So how was that scene? Because Joe Pesci was one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, that's a cool scene. Just because if you didn't I knew the movie obviously from the inside out because I had the script and I was in it and I knew it was going to happen. But if you didn't know what was going to happen, and then you see Pesci and then he says, remember me years ago in front of your house? And then it makes you realize, oh shit, that was him in the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll make you watch that part again. Fuck you, you freehole. Oh, the guy, remember the street? That word freehole is a very Bronx. It's very authentic. It's very Bronx, and it's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that is insane, man. You just doing a freaking Pesci impression, sounding like Pesci, looking like De Niro. That's freaking hilarious, man. Freaking hilarious.
The hybrid.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So, going back to your recovery process, what made you decide that, you know what, I want to be sober, right? Like what like initially
I mean,
convinced you?
you would think after somebody died, I would say, yo, man, enough, but I still wanted to go. Um, I just was letting down too many people. And I knew that at that point in my life, since I was incarcerated, you know, after my drug addiction spiraled out of control till 2005, when I was out with my ex-girlfriend's father, because she didn't want to be with me anymore. So I became his friend. So she wouldn't call the cops. I would just say I'm with him. So we went out that night. We weren't trying to break in the house. Yes, I broke the window and all that, but I knew the guy and I was screaming his name. I made all this noise. That's not a burglary. It's not a burglary. I know they want to try to sell that. Burglars are quiet. You wouldn't have heard one sound. I would have had tools. I would have did it the right way. I wouldn't have went there breaking glass. I was drunk. I was messed up. I was trying to get the guy's attention. And because it was a cop, they made it out to be like, oh my God, these guys wasn't burglarizing the house. That's like, come on. But, yeah, to get drugs. And then, you know, it was a gunfight ensued. I got shot. My co-defendant got shot. The cop got killed. Daniel Enchotegi. He got killed, unfortunately. And, you know, and then my ex-girlfriend's father, he's the one that shot him. We were locked up, you know, for years. And, and I'm in jail now, fighting for my life. I got a murder case that I'm facing, and I'm still doing this. And then I overdosed November 12th, 2006 in my cell. And then I just realized, like, and then I had an attorney visit November 18th, 2006. And I'm still getting high. But then when I see my cousin and my friend who came to see me on the attorney visit, they're very disappointed in me. And that day something clicked. I was like, I'm turning everyone in my life away from me. They're like, they want to see. They didn't want to come there anyway. I mean, who all wants to go see people you love in jail and in this situation? But then you're being an asshole about it and you're still doing it. You're not going to have anybody. And I knew the only shot that I had at beating the case was for me to be involved in a big way. Because I knew I was there that night. I know what happened that night more than anybody else. You know what I mean? And well, except for Steven too. But, you know, and that would be an advantage to have you got to help your lawyer help you. Because it's, you know, the case file is the case file. So I just decided, man, this is my life. And I knew that before, but that it like clicked in. My life literally depends on me getting sober. I have to. If I have any shot at beating this case, I have to. And I did it. In the beginning, it was hard. Because your body still craves it. And I would get it at church. You know, it's like every time I went to church, I would associate that. And then I knew I can't get it anymore. But, you know, you remove yourself from it. And I believe it or not, I replaced working out with it. That became an addiction. I was buying all this tuna at commissary, I was eating right. I was doing all kinds of shit, man. I was doing pull-ups off the bar, you know, everything. All day, every day I was doing something. And believe it or not, I got pretty big. Because I went there, I was 130 pounds. I was all cracked out. Yeah. That was the end of 05, beginning of 06. By spring, summer of 07, I got up to like 185, 190, man. I was stocky. Wow. Pretty serious, you know?
That is crazy. Yeah. I was about to ask, okay, so between like 2000, 2005, like you didn't do a lot of acting, like you did some acting, but you didn't do a lot of acting. And what was life like that during that time? Were you just
then, you know, that time period is when I got hooked on the narcotic pain medication after I had an injury to my head. You see it?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I jumped out of a car one night due to cocaine psychosis to paranoia. I thought these guys in the car were going to kill me. I jumped out, messed my head up, and then I got hooked on the pain pills. And so that whole time was that's what went on. I was chasing those pills. I was working, but my main focus was the pills because it was getting worse every day. They grabbed such a hold on you. Then it went from that to the heroin. And then, you know, December 10, 2005. But, you know, so we charged with murder. I was charged with murder 2. He was murder 1. We stayed there for like 3 years. He went to trial. He blew trial. He got convicted of murder 1. I beat trial except for attempted burglary in the first degree with serious physical injury to a non-participant. So I ended up getting 10 years. I did 8 with 3 already in Rikers. I only have 5 to do. I went, I did it. I got my GED. I went to college. I paid for it out of my own pocket. It wasn't offered from the facility or New York State. They don't do that anymore. Only GED. And then I finished up my time. I came home. It was hard. It was very hard because
I say you were in Rikers for like what 5 years was it?
No, 3 years beginning.
3 years.
Rikers. Yeah, that's like hell on earth, that place. You got police corruption, there's drugs everywhere, there's fights, there's gangs, weapons, everything. Rikers is, hard place. Like, it's a hard place. I think I even saw it on Family Feud recently. There was one of the top, whatever it was, dangerous places in America. Rikers Island was number 1. And you can look it up because I saw it. I was like, whoa. Yeah.
So that's insane. So like, did you know? So when did you get into Rikers? And did you know that you were in Rikers, or like, did it like someone tell you, oh, you're in Rikers? Like, how did that go?
We went from Bellevue Hospital after being all shot up because we both got shot.
Right.
So we were in a hospital first. We went from Jacoby Hospital and Trauma Center in Westchester Square in the Bronx from December 10th until the 15th. On the 15th, we were moved to Bellevue, which is off the East River in Manhattan. The reason why they call it Bellevue, it's a beautiful view, Bellevue. And they took us there, and they have the prison wards. And then we got beds, we got the morphine drip, milk and cookies. So we were good. The 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th. I saw my parents over the weekend. We were all skinny, a little skinny, had the beard, a little shot up, looked disheveled, real skinny. But December 19th, that's when they moved us. They shackled us up, the big ESU, the emergency service unit guys. They're very intimidating. They don't give a fuck about nothing. As soon as they see you, you're in a cell, as soon as they see you, they'll tell you, get up, strip down. And then they'll tell you, like serious shit, strip down. He goes, open your mouth. Then he'll say, cough, turn around. Literally, you got to spread your ass cheeks apart. You got to cough, because if there's anything out there, they'll see it when you cough.
Right.
They literally just break you down. And I was all weak. I was still cut wide open from all the surgery and shit. I was on life support. And now you got these big dudes, man. They're not playing. He said, if you say anything or you get whatever, he goes, I'm going to fuck you up. He said, you're going to be right back in the hospital. He said straight up. I was so scared, bro.
Yeah. How old were you?
30 years old. He said, I'm going to fuck 30. You up. You're going to be right back in the hospital. I said, no, I'm not going to do anything to bother you. Trust me. So, then they, in the van, we were all shackled up, things to you with the chain around you. Your feet are shackled, everything, bro. Orange jumpers. In case somebody gets away, they got those fluorescent. We got jumpers on fluorescent, so they can find you right away. Get a helicopter. There he is. There's the orange jumper. So they take us there, and I remember seeing Ditmars Boulevard, which is in like Astoria, Queens, like Long Island, like that, right by LaGuardia Airport, which is right by the Rikers. I only heard of Rikers. I didn't know exactly where it was. I knew it was in New York City somewhere. I didn't know it was right there. It's in East Elmhurst, Queens.
Okay. So
I remember I was in there, and my co-defendant was sitting across from me. We got the cage in the middle, right? And I'm trying to like look, and it's all graded, but from one little opening that they had, I saw Ditmars Boulevard, and I'm thinking, where are we? And then I said, where are we? And he goes, Rikers, we're at Rikers Island. I'm like, oh my God. Because I have nothing but horror stories about that place. And it's like, this is going to be my life. This is serious business here. So December 9th, 2005 was probably the worst day of my life. When they put me in that cell, it was like somebody died. I'm all shot up. I'm trembling from coming off all the drugs.
Right.
I'm facing the rest of my life in prison. I'm in so much pain. Everything hit me all at once. It was a bad day, bro. And
was that your lowest? Or did you say that was your lowest?
I mean, yeah, that could have been, but no, maybe later on when I overdosed after that.
So when you
the overdose was the lowest, huh?
So the overdose, that's when you were trying to get drugs from one person and you're gonna get it from two people, and you're like, I might as well take two, right? Is that how that overdose story went?
Well, I was getting stuff at church. I was getting morphine at church, and then I was getting heroin in the next cell block. So there was a Saturday, I was able to get both. And I got it, figuring I'll do some today and then tomorrow. And then I'm thinking all this other shit. Well, if they take it, and then I did it all. And I ended up overdosing in my cell that day, November 12th, 2006, you know?
Wow.
But, you know, then I went up, I sobered up. I fought the case. Like I said, I beat all the top charges upstate. I got my GED. Everything was, you know, I ended up getting a time cut because of my associate's degree that I earned.
Yeah.
When I came home, it was tough, man. It's tough. But little by little, I stayed the course. I didn't have much money. But, you know, I had a good support system. I had my family, my friends, a lot of people that love me. And they got me to the next level. And thank God I'm, you know, blessed. You know, I've done some film and television, you know. Yeah, so I'm really blessed for all that. And I also work in, you know, the drug treatment industry. Someone took notice as I've, you know, getting a lot of attention in that regard online and on Instagram, and people reaching out, Lillo. And I'm with a company called More Life Recovery. We give you more choices so that you can have more life. My friend Stevie, Kenny, Joe, owners of the company. It's a great place. And it's great for me to be there because it's like, I look forward to going there because I know that I'm just as vulnerable as anybody else in treatment, just because it's like we're addicts. You know, you take one car ride, you know, I always say you're one car ride away from a relapse. That's all it takes. You get in that car, that ride, you could see somebody on the way, or that dealer that used to sell you that, like, yo, what's up, man? You still in business? Yeah, what's up, man? Boom, done. You know what I mean? So I need to be there because it holds me accountable because I got to be there, you know, every week. And I don't want to, you know, them to have to say, well, hey, Lillo, you know, oh, sorry, you guys, you know, Lillo was supposed to be here today, but we haven't been able to get in touch with him already or anything. I'm somewhere all fucked up. Because I love some, you know, I love these people, some really good people. And they're just struggling. It doesn't make them bad people. It's just a bad time in their lives where, you know, they lost control of their lives. But, you know, with the right support, you know, the right tools, they can overcome that and they can get their lives back on track. And that's what we're trying to do at More Life. That's what we're trying to do. Try to help them get their lives back on track. Because obviously you lose control. You know what I mean? You're not a bad person. You lose control of your life because of the drugs and the alcohol. And we want to show you a way to gain control of your life once again. You know, so.
That's amazing.
And your title is Director of Public Relations, right?
Yeah, Director of Public Relations.
And how long have you been doing that?
I would say probably since April of 2018.
Very nice, very
And,
nice.
you're working with like, is it the same group or are they people coming in and coming out or?
Yeah, like that. I mean, you do get some, you know, obviously they're there for months, but then, you know, you get some people, you see them once or twice, you never see them again. Then you get some people, you see them for a couple of weeks, never see them again, you know, so it varies.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it back to the court case. Were they trying to characterize you as, you know, some of your characters, like in the movie? Were they trying to paint you as like a bad guy? Like,
No, they couldn't do that. But when I did testify in my own behalf, she did try to say that, you know, you're an actor, right? So, you know, you're good at it, right? I said, I like to think so. So I said, what's to say that you're not acting when you're up there? I said, well, it's a much different playing field. This is my life. I said, this is real shit. And you know, so, but no, she didn't say, you know, I mean, come on. If I was on the jury and a DA did that, I would be so turned off. I would say that has nothing to do with anything. We know what it is. The name of the game is you have to prove this person's guilt. The burden is on you, not him. All he has to do is sit there. By you saying that means nothing. It means that you have nothing. If you got to stoop that low and be that desperate and say some shit like that, now I'm going to know the rest of your case is bullshit. You would never say that. Why don't you keep quiet and present the facts rather than in the media and everywhere else. Present the facts in the courtroom. Tell the story.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, because think about what it is. It's the same set of facts made into two different stories by two different people. It's which one you believe more and the most, you know?
Yeah, I did some mock trial back in my day, and that's all it was, man. It was essentially you got a script, and then it's like, all right, you're defending this and you're attacking this. So yeah, dude, that's crazy. And the way that you just broke it down, you broke it down very well on DJ Vlad's interview. You broke down your case, man. I was like, man, you could be your own lawyer for right now. You know what I'm saying? And that whole situation. But yeah, man, like that is crazy, man. So you've been at like the tops of you've been the highs of highs, the lowest of lows. What are some takeaways from, being at the top, like, being an actor, being in the clubs, doing all those things? And then what like takeaways you get from from
when you get opportunities that I got at such a young age, you have to really do the right thing by them. Like that kind of stuff that doesn't happen to everyone. You know what I mean? And just because of the lack of experience at that time, I squandered a lot of, many great opportunities. So that's what I would say. That does, just be blessed at where you are and really appreciate it and act like you appreciate it by treating it the right way and making the right decisions behind it to not squander it and make sure it lasts. I mean, I lived middle class my whole life. And then, that happened, when I went to jail and everything. That was a very scary and sad time in my life. I was very depressed. It was very hard. But like I said, I had the good support system around me. I had my parents, my dad. Today he would have been 74. Rest in peace. And they came to see me. My dad was sick and everything, but he still came to see me every week. He used to drive 4.5, 5 hours to come see me, all the way in upstate prison. Gas was out, through the roof like it is now, but he still did it. And I had a lot of my brother and his wife. I just had a little baby too, so I had a lot to come home to.
And that's one of the main notes I had for you. Like the first two notes I have like for you on my like sheet here: support system and family. Family was like there for you from the jump. Like so.
That's the difference. That's the difference of those who make it and don't make it. A lot of the times, is the support system. It's not like one guy's better than the other. It's like this guy's got more people in his corner. So he had more resources to pull from when he needed them to get to that and to keep going. When you don't have that and you hit that ceiling and you don't have those resources to go past it, what do? You get discouraged and then, you let it slip away. But the support is everything, man. It's everything, So if you know somebody who's in jail and you care about that person, support them because they're going through a really tough time, and your support is going to make all the difference in their, in their recovery from whatever it is that landed them where they are. So just support them, don't forget about them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So on your Instagram page, you have a lot of inspirational videos that you record. And I just want to get your thoughts on like what made you decide to create these videos, and yeah.
Well, part of my job, the obligation is to fulfill. I got to do 2 of those a week, and at first it was more out of that, but now it's like I actually love doing them because people actually respond and people actually can use them. I get so many beautiful comments. It really warms my heart to know that there's actually people out there that are like listening to what you say. Cause I put, I got to come up with different concepts and then, and it's got to be in that format of less than a minute or less. And I got to write it down. And then, some stuff I got to cut out because it's too long. It takes time, man. It's not but like I said, it's very, they make me feel good about myself because I know they're for the greater good. Like people can say like, and I get, anywhere from 5 to 15,000 views, that's right. Decent. You know what I mean? I don't got Ronaldo,
numbers, right?
That he's got the biggest in the world. The soccer player Ronaldo.
Yep.
It's in stratosphere, his Instagram. He's got like 1 billion followers. He's nuts. With 300-400 million followers. He's insane. But yeah. And it's whatever little platform I do have, I like that, I think it's important that, I can use it in the right way and to influence and inspire people, you know what I mean? To do, good things and make them want to, succeed in life, and the little lessons and little things that I've learned along the way and things that help me, and hopefully I can, share that with you and you can use it in a way that, you know, it can help you like it did for me. That's what it's all about. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world or I do this. Like, you know, I get comments, so, hey, what do you think you are now, Mr. Rogers? You know, like people crazy. But it's just like, it's funny. It's funny. I laugh at that shit. Well, my hairline was back here. People used to say, hey, look at this guy, he's like RoboCop. You know, like one guy was like, you know, look at him. He looks like he's got a yarmulke on. You know, like stuff like that. I laugh at that. I don't give a shit about that, you know?
Yeah. You got the internet trolls. You'll always have those internet trolls. Corey, were you about to say something?
Oh,
No,
I was just.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, I have big respect for you carrying on all the inspiration, because that's another step for you in your recovery, you know?
Well, to give back, man. Yeah, to give
Exactly.
back. Yeah, that's part of that's, you know, that's a lot to give back, to make amends to all the people that you hurt, you know. I'm not necessarily, I do follow some of the steps. I'm not a big Narcotics Anonymous guy.
Yeah.
I just don't like some of the stuff that, just the word powerless alone, I think is so self-defeating. If someone tells you that you're powerless, it's like you don't have control, but you don't need to tell yourself that you don't have control. And it's like, I don't like, you know, I don't know, a lot of aspects of it I just don't like. I think it's too rigid, and I just think it's just too much. And people can do it for a little bit, but I see a lot of people relapse. I see a lot of people relapse in the rooms. But then, you know, you got some people, but I just never saw the importance or the use of a guy who's 30 years in recovery still going to meetings. That's like being in the second grade till you're 50.
Right.
It's like, right or wrong. It's like,
No.
I'm past that.
Sense, yeah.
It just never made sense to me. So it wasn't for me. I didn't like it.
I have one question about like back in the prison. Your time in prison, what are some like key, like, you know, points that like, what are some things in prison that you would like to see change? Like, are there any changes you would like to see in prisons, like just in general?
I just think some of the programs that they offer to rehabilitate some of these guys for them to re-enter society, I just don't think they're enough. I just think they give you just enough to go through the motions, to justify with the state, to say, all right, well, he had his program, but I didn't get shit out of those programs. Well, actually, I did. ART, which was aggression replacement training, that was, I did, you know, learn how to suppress some of my anger through that. But then there was another one, ASAT, alcohol and substance abuse treatment, and nothing out of it. I'm like, what is this? This is what I'm here for. The alleged crime or whatever, you know, it was drug fueled. You take the drugs out of the equation, the crime doesn't happen. So next, you got to, you know, I need more treatment. Like, this is not enough. I don't know anything different I have not acquired any different tool from what I learned there that's going to make me better on the outside. And I just think they need to do more. They got these counselors, these people like never got high. Oh yeah, smoked pot in college once. Oh, bro, are you nuts? I was climbing through people's windows. You got with ladders. Yeah. My father's workman.
Yeah, they can't connect. They cannot connect.
College, I think it was just once, and I smoked some weed, and it was, oh my God, never again. Okay, and you're gonna tell me what I need to do? You don't know shit about this. Exactly. You don't know what it's like, you know. But guys, I got a few more minutes. All right.
Yeah. That's fine. Coming back in 2013, you got out in 2013. How was life? Like when you got out in 2013, how did it feel?
Well, yeah, it felt great, but it was like, you know, I wasn't some war hero that, you know, coming home from the war and, hey, Lillo, there's a lot of people were disappointed, didn't want to see me home and didn't like the fact that I was let out and released. So it was tough. I got a lot of doors slammed in my face, a lot of people, you know, but, you know, I stayed the course. I got some opportunities. I did, you know, some films, some independent films, and it's, you know, got back to doing what I love. You know, be starting a film November 1st called Sleepyhead. It's on my Instagram. You know, when the guy goes in the store, robs the store. I don't know if you saw the trailer. It's really cool.
Yeah.
We start that. I got a film called The Fury that I'm also a producer on that my friend Victor Rios directed. You know, it's a vigilante film that's coming out. A short film with Jamie Lynn Sigler called I'm on Fire. Really, you know, really good stuff. It's about like child abuse and this, you know, this guy and the way, you know, treats his family. It's a cycle. It's a cycle that he experienced, and it's pretty deep, man. It really is. You and I have one out called Made in Mexico. Mario Lopez produced, and our good friend Rodney Ranks, we call him Tootie. He wrote and directed it. It's really cool. I play a Mexican cartel guy. It's like it's funny too. You like it? So yeah, things are good, man. I working more life. I got my nephew, my nieces. My nephew's 9. My nieces are 5 years old. You know what I mean? Got nice, simple life, man. The way I like it. You can't complicate things. You got to keep things simple. Simplicity is key to life. Keep everything simple, and it's,
Yeah,
Definitely.
without a doubt.
So,
Any last words? Any last questions? Anybody?
Yeah. So, I mean, he kind of already answered the question that I had was like, what are your plans for the future? And you kind of already touched a little bit about that.
yeah,
What
well,
movies
like I
that you
said, I'm
got.
doing Sleepyhead November 1st, and then whatever else after that. We'll see what happens with that and these other ones that do come out, and see what traction can be gained from them, if any at all. And if not, you just keep working. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Sometimes it's cool to just like you got to grind it out. Sometimes when you are grinding is when you find out things that you would have never find out had you not been in that. You know what I mean? But things are well. I'm not complaining. I'm not. Things are well. So I don't. I really want to be careful in what I pick and choose, and I don't want to keep playing stereotype myself and playing these gangster Italian tough guy roles. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like someone came to me if like Scorsese said I want, of course, but you know what I mean. I just want to like discover more of what I'm capable of as an actor.
Yeah,
And a lot of times with the studio films, these big studio movies, obviously that's what you want to be in because they're seen by the most people and you can make the most money. But when it comes to these studio films, they're not going to cast me as anything other than what people think I'm going to be. And they, hey, Tony, how you doing? Hey. And that to me is not, I don't care about that. Like, it's not fun. I don't want to be in movies just so I can say, hey, look, man, I'm in that movie, or put it on my Instagram. I don't care about that. You know what I mean? Because it's like when Bronx Tale came out like that, from the day, like right after it was released, everyone knows who you are now. And it's like a whole different world. So as far as all that kind of stuff, I experienced that at a very young age to where I don't care about that. It's not important. It's very distracting. And if, not handled the right way, it can literally make you go crazy. But it's not like that anymore. But I'm just saying, but now to me, it's more about the work, man. I just want to be an actor.
Right.
I want to play this next, the pumpkin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the love. It's the love of the game. It's not more so much about the money. It's more so of like the actual art
craft.
Right. And when you think like that, the money will follow. When you think about money, when you think about doing good work and quality stuff and really challenging yourself, putting out quality work, the money will follow. That's just the way it goes. You don't have to worry about the money. It always comes with all that. Just because you can't control the money. You can't control who's going to come see it or not. All you can control is your performance, your effort, and everything. We're only responsible for the effort, not the outcome. That's it. You put in the effort, whatever happens, happens. Usually when you have, some integrity and some, good work ethic and you work hard and you put in a, good effort, usually good things happen and the money follows. So.
Yeah, without that. And then you've already proven yourself as, that role. Like you're more than just, being on The Sopranos or Bronx Tale. You're more than that. So like, I'm really grateful to see that you're able to like go on and move on to newer roles, newer challenges, newer heights. And, you're developing, you're sort of like a coach. If you really think about it, your PR, being with More Life, you're really like a coach. You're helping others and you're helping yourself. You're leveling up yourself while you're helping other people level up. So Lillo, thank you.
Well, yeah, of course, because, with the Bronx Tale, people know the film and they know just because of how big it was, they can easily Google you and easily find out where you've been. And like, wow, this guy was just like me. He was right where I was. But now he's not like that. Now he's doing well and he works out and he looks good and he does whatever, you know what I mean? And he's like, actually, and then they start to realize that it is possible because they're seeing it. It's not what you tell people, it's what you show them. I show them every week, every time I go there, I show them that, you know what I'm saying? I show them and provide for them a good example. You know what I mean? So that's it. You know.
Lillo, thank you for your time, man.
Thank you, guys.
You guys follow him on Instagram. Check out his movies. Check out Made in Mexico, man. I really appreciate your time, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Thank you, gentlemen. God bless you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night. All right.
God
You
bless.
too,
God
man.
bless.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.